Can we start?
Yes, sir.
See, yesterday when we discussed about financial inclusion, I have missed out one very important one, and none of you reminded me also about that. Dhan Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Dhan Yojana. Please write this. Dhan Yojana. Initiated in August 2014. Okay. So, National Mission on Financial Inclusion, as part of National Mission on Financial Inclusion. So when it was established, actually the target within 1 year, by 26 Jan 2015, the target was actually opening bank accounts like 7.5 crore bank accounts was the actual target. Okay, so by 26 Jan, and then it should be 27 crore by Feb 2017. Okay, and along with the opening of account, accident insurance of 1 lakh is given free, life insurance of 30,000 is also given free. Okay, so you can write there, free accident insurance and life insurance was given. Okay, debit card was given. Debit card need to be used frequently also. So frequently means 45 days, 45 days it should be used. Okay, so frequently debit card should be used. Overdraft facility may be provided. One line, overdraft facility may be provided after 6 months. Overdraft facility may be provided after 6 months of 2,500. Okay, so overdraft facility means it is like a credit. Anytime you can take it, but you need to pay it back. Okay, so overdraft facility may be provided after 6 months of you starting the account, and later up to 5,000. So you can write like that. So after 6 months, 2,500 overdraft facility is provided, and later it will be increased to 5,000. Now here, it was very successful. The reason why it was successful is because DBT is actually facilitated through these accounts. So when direct benefit transfer, that means the subsidies are now going to be given through the account. So when DBTs are facilitated through the account, it automatically created a pull factor. Okay, so DBTs actually acted as a pull factor. Otherwise, I have told you this issue before. There is no push factor because you may think that I don't have any income, I don't have balance, I don't have any savings to start an account and deposit in bank, right? So people who don't have money also, if you need to get the benefit given by the government, you have to start an account. So this actually acted as the pull factor. So that is why it was successful. So the push factor may not be there from the poor people side, but pull factor is created automatically. Okay, so every poor people is now going to take the account, then only you will get the benefit. So before, this was not the situation. Now one more point is these accounts could be accessed through any type of mobile phones. So any type, it is not necessary that internet connection etc. is required. So even without internet, any kind of phone, these accounts could be accessed. Okay, so these accounts could be accessed through any type of mobile phone through this USSD. USSD means unstructured supplementary service data. Unstructured supplementary service data application. So like this, no, star 99 hash etc. So this is what USSD. So you can see the account balance, okay, last transaction, transfers. So even transaction also can be made through the mobile phone, any mobile phone, even without having any internet connection. So it is actually, this is actually developed by NPCI. What is NPCI?
National Payment Corporation of India.
Yeah, National Payment Corporation of India. Okay, so actually this BHIM app and all also developed by NPCI only. Okay, so it was actually developed by NPCI to develop an integrated What is the main objective of NPCI? NPCI, the main objective is to develop an integrated payment system. Okay, now NPCI, if you see, it was actually established in 2008. Okay, it was established by RBI, NPCI, RBI and 10 banks. So RBI and 10 banks in 2008, NPCI was established. The objective is to develop an integrated payment system. So you can write there, develop an integrated payment system. Okay, now if you need to know what are the 10 banks, you don't actually want to know what are the 10 banks. Out of those 10 banks, 2 are foreign banks, 2 are private banks, and rest of the 6 are public sector banks like SBI. Okay, so you don't want to know what are the 6. Maybe these 2 foreign banks. Foreign banks are Citibank and HSBC. Okay, this private bank, obviously you know, HDFC and ICICI. So 2 private bank, 2 foreign bank and 6 public sector banks along with RBI established NPCI for the integrated payment system. So that is also actually used in this Dhan Yojana. Just write one line there related to NPCI. NPCI seeks to develop an integrated payment system. NPCI seek to develop an integrated payment system and to develop low-cost delivery channels for financial programs. And to develop low-cost delivery channels for financial programs. Okay, now come back to Dhan Yojana. So business correspondence to be enhanced. That is one more point you can write there. Business correspondence to be enhanced, increased. That we have already discussed before. So business correspondence, BCs to be increased, financial literacy to be promoted. So these are few points. So now the phase 2 of Dhan Yojana. Phase 2 will include micro insurance. Okay, so we have already discussed that PMSBY etc. right? PMJDY Bima Yojana. So PMJJBY, PMSBY etc. So phase 2 will offer micro insurance, micro pension. We have discussed adult pension yojana, right? Then so the objective is basically to create the pull factor. So you can see here more focus is given on pull factor so that people will come and start the accounts. So what is the main difference between Swabhiman and JDY? Swabhiman and JDY, can you tell what is the main difference? So Swabhiman is very specific to rural areas, right? So banking services in rural areas. But the Dhan Yojana, it is all households, not only rural area. So that is the main difference. Now here when we discuss about in terms of technology, in case of Swabhiman, limited use of technology, right? So here extensive use of technology. I have told you NPCI, USSD etc. So extensive use of technology. Then so here limited promotion of financial literacy, limited promotion of financial literacy. But when it comes to Dhan Yojana, you can see mass promotion, mass advertisements. Okay, media also incorporated. Okay, there was media plan also, separate media plan to promote financial literacy. Special drives were conducted. So extensive promotion of financial literacy. Okay, now here it was mainly supply side factor. So supply factors, right? So you provide only few services, but when it comes to Dhan Yojana, both supply and demand side factor. Supply and demand side factor. So how you differentiate these two? Supply side factor means what? Earlier it was because of in rural area, because there is no bank branch, so people are not opening the account. Now there is a facility, so the supply is there, so people will come and operate or start the account. So supply side factor is taken care with Swabhiman. When it comes to Jan Dhan Yojana, supply side is taken care. Okay, at the same time demand side, I've told you it created the pull factor. So now opening bank account is, a demand, so that you will get the benefit from the government. So demand side means it is a pull factor that we are talking about in terms of direct benefit transfer. So when direct benefit transfer is actually linked with Jan Dhan Yojana account, so you actually have to open even though you are poor, even though you don't have any income, if you need to get anything from the government, you have to start an account. So it created a demand side factor, or it solved that demand side factor also. Okay, now in economic survey 2015 and all, you can see this mention about Jam Trinity. What is this? Jam Trinity? What is this J? What is Jam Trinity? J is Jan Dhan Yojana. A, what is A? What is A? Jam. What is A? No idea. Aadhaar. What is M?
Mobile, sir.
Mobile. Okay.
Mobile.
So Jam Trinity, Jan Dhan, Aadhaar, mobile. These three to be connected. What is the advantage? It is very important to reduce leakage. So in your mains, you should be writing about this in case if you get any question related to, leakages, policy related questions, etc. Direct benefit transfer. In all these cases, you can write JAM, Jam Trinity. Okay. So interlinking the bank account, Aadhaar, and phone, mobile number. Okay, now one committee, important committee, but it was an old committee 2013, but still it is relevant. So either we can go for it, or if you are ready to refer it, we can go in that way also. But anyway, I'll discuss it quickly. Nachiket More Committee. Nachiket More Committee 2013. Okay, you can quickly take down the recommendations. So the committee name is Committee on Comprehensive Financial Services for Small Businesses. You can write the name Committee on Comprehensive Financial Services for Small Business and Low Income Households. For small business and low income households.
Can you repeat the name once more?
Committee on Comprehensive Financial Services. Comprehensive Financial Services for small business and low income households. For small business and low income households. Small business and low income households.
Yeah, thanks, sir.
Now recommendations you can write. The government should not focus solely on large generalist institutions. Government should not focus solely on large generalist institutions. For example, commercial banks. Rather, small specialized financial institutions. Rather, small specialized financial institutions to be promoted to achieve financial inclusion. Rather, small specialized financial institutions to be promoted to achieve financial inclusion. See, the idea is different segments of society have different needs. So it will be better if you can, divide into small financial institutions so that which can cater to the different needs in the society. So this is actually accepted, this recommendation. Second one, you write payment banks to be established. Payment banks to be established. And we have discussed about payment banks already, so that is also accepted. Next one, small or regional banks to be established. Small or regional banks to be established. See, regional banks means it should be confined to specific region. That is what regional banks. Okay, so like geographically connected 3 districts, etc., that we have discussed. Okay, so small or regional banks to be established. But instead, what RBI did, RBI gave license to small finance banks, right? The idea is same, but when we discuss about small finance bank, is it confined to any region, small finance banks? We discussed already, small finance banks does not confine to any region. That's why many regional banks are actually have given the application to convert to small finance bank. So there is no it is not confined to region. So I can say by and large it is accepted. RBI gave license to small finance banks. So by and large it is accepted. Okay. Next point you can write. See, all these you can write in case if a mains question is coming related to financial inclusion. These are the recommendations that you can write, and you can say these are accepted and these are in operation, like that. Analysis of different policies. Okay. Next you can write universal electronic bank account to be provided to all residents. Universal electronic bank account to be provided to all residents of 18 years of age and above at the time of registration for Aadhaar. Universal electronic bank account to be provided to all residents of 18 years of age, 18 and above at the time of registration for Aadhaar. This is not accepted, okay? This is not accepted. Next, priority sector lending quota, PSL quota, to be increased from 40 to 50. So currently it is 40, it should be increased to 50. So this is also not accepted. So whatever is not accepted is not important for us because the committee was in 2013. So this is not important, but you may keep these recommendations in mind. So if you want to write an answer with a socialist perspective, you can say PSL to be increased, etc. But there are obviously practical difficulties in that. It will affect the profitability of the bank, and in a way it will have huge ramification or impact on society. Okay, next is SLR to be abolished. SLR to be abolished. See, when we discussed about, if you remember, financial repression we discussed. Can anyone tell me what do you mean by financial repression? We discussed this concept of financial repression, and we have also discussed about double financial repression. Right? I have told you when RBI actually increasing SLR, this is banks have very less money to lend in the profitable area. So firstly, this SLR is there, then there is some PSL.
So you're not audible.
Okay, I'm not audible to all of you.
You are audible, sir.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah, Sahar, am I audible?
Audible. I can hear you, sir.
Okay, so we have already discussed about financial repression, and we have also talked about double financial repression, right? When we discussed about the case of inflation, etc. So here SLR to be abolished so that you can solve the problem of financial repression, or SLR, high SLR may lead to financial repression, okay? Because money held in government security, the bank's money is held in government security. So what will actually happen is government security only very low yield, right? So money of the bank is actually held in the low yielding security. So that lead to financial repression, okay? And corporate cannot get money also. So that lead to reduction in investment, okay? So, and because of high SLR, government borrowing is also increased because GSEC has to be kept in bank. So banks keep on buying the GSEC because of high SLR. So automatically government borrowing is increasing. So the three cases that we have discussed is firstly financial repression, because the profitable lending percentage is actually decreasing. Okay, so SLR high means you have to keep more government security. The yield there is very less. So banks profitable lending is reducing. That is one thing. Secondly, the firms are not getting money because banks have less money to lend. Thirdly, government borrowing is actually increasing. So all these are actually the problem. But this is not accepted. SLR to be abolished, it is not accepted. Okay. Next recommendation, DBT to be enhanced, direct benefit transfer to be enhanced. But this is accepted. Okay, one more committee. I've mentioned about this committee before. Committee on Medium Term Path on Financial Inclusion. Just write the name of the committee. Committee on Medium Term Path on Financial Inclusion 2015. Also known as Deepak Mohanty committee, because the chairman, you can write chairman Deepak Mohanty. Deepak Mohanty is the chairman. Deepak Mohanty is the chairman. So write the recommendations there. First one, Suganya Shiksha Yojana. Suganya Shiksha Yojana to promote education of girl child by providing financial assistance in her account. Okay, so Suganya Shiksha Yojana to promote education of girl child by providing financial assistance in her account. So in bracket you can write government initiated Suganya Samriddhi Yojana in 2015. Government initiated Suganya Samriddhi Yojana in 2015. So under Suganya Samriddhi Yojana, bank accounts will be opened for girl child up to 10 years of age, right? So up to 10 years of age, bank account will be opened and government will give high interest. Okay, and you can withdraw money after the 10th standard, if you after the 10th standard or 18 years. So money can be withdrawn upon completion of 10th standard or 18 years. So government give a high interest here. Second, Aadhaar linked credit account for individuals. Aadhaar linked credit account for individuals to enhance credit flow. To enhance credit flow. Third one, unique identity for MSMEs, micro, small, medium enterprises. Unique identity for MSMEs to enhance credit flow. To enhance credit flow and their information to be shared with credit information bureaus. And their information to be shared with credit information bureaus. Okay, credit information bureau means CIBIL, etc. Okay, so you can write in brackets CIBIL, Credit Information Bureau Limited. Credit Information Bureau India Limited, CIBIL. Next one, again common one, all government subsidies and welfare payments to be replaced by DBT. All government subsidies and welfare payments to be replaced by DBT. All subsidies and welfare payments to be replaced by DBT. Next one, fifth one, agricultural interest subvention. Agricultural interest subvention means what? Concessional credit. Okay, in bracket you can write concessional credit. Agricultural interest subvention bracket concessional credit to be replaced by a universal crop insurance scheme. A universal crop insurance scheme covering all crops starting with small and marginal farmers with monetary ceiling rupees 2 lakh. Okay, so all small and marginal farmers to be covered, that means up to 2 lakh. Monetary ceiling will be 2 lakh. So this should be more focusing on, you should be focusing more on what? Giving universal crop insurance covering all crops for the small and marginal farmers. This point I've already discussed with you. We have also, before we have discussed somewhere when we discussed about some point, I've told you about Deepak Mohanty committee, right? So Deepak Mohanty committee recommended don't go for concessional credit. See, you may ask to lend at PSL. So the problem is you will be asking the banks to lend at PSL. Agriculture, there is a quota of 18%. But the point is not the marginal and small farmers are actually able to get from this 18%. So this is not for the small farmers. They are not able to get. For their documentation, KYC norms, etc. is very difficult. So it is actually got by the big farmers. Okay, even though some limitations are there, 2 hectares limitations are there, but still there are obvious limitations for the small farmers to get the loan. So what you should do, so what is their choice? They will approach the money lenders and they will take from money lenders, right? And I've shown you that mathematical representation also. Banks, let's say banks are charging 15% or 10% or 15%. Money lenders, okay, when under PSL, let's say banks are charging concessional interest rate 10%. Money lenders also say 10%, but this is per month, this is per year. Okay, so we have already discussed this. So the point here is what Deepak Mohanty recommending us. This should not be the thrust on the government. You should not focus about this interest subvention or concessional credit. Now, if you there are 2 problems. Firstly, it is the big farmers who's getting the benefit. Secondly, this is a fiscal burden for the government. Okay, so this should not be there. Instead, government should give insurance. Okay, universal insurance. See, the idea is it is not that you should not promote this group. This is the main problem in the rural area. Okay, you are paying around 100% as the interest. So more than the concessional credit, availability of institutional credit is more important for the poor person. So this non-institutional source borrowing should not be promoted. It should be, you have to make a curb or it should not be promoted at any point of time. So promote the institutional borrowing. Even if the interest is 15%, it's okay. Okay, but make sure that the poor people will get access to institutional borrowing. So that is the way you need to write your answer. So that's about this module. We completed the module of banking. It was slightly a lengthy module. Okay, can we go to next module? So financial inclusion also was a lengthy topic. So I think we have covered it completely. Anything we left out in banking? We discussed about we started off with nationalization, banking sector reforms. Okay, we talked about Basel norms. Then so next module, financial institution. Just write one line there. These are institutions or companies. These are institutions or companies that mediate between that mediate between ultimate lenders and borrowers. Ultimate lenders and borrowers. These are also called financial intermediaries. These are also called financial intermediaries. Okay, so financial institutions are nothing but the intermediaries. FI, financial intermediaries. So what they do, these are institutions that mediate between ultimate lenders and borrowers. So who are the ultimate lenders? Tell me, who are the ultimate lenders? Those who save are the lenders, right? So who save? Households, right? So households, they save. Okay, so the job of financial institution is basically to mobilize money from the households. So the savings will be mobilized and will be lending to who's the borrower? Who's the borrower? Lending to the firms, right? For the investment. So the savings of the households will be mobilized, okay? Mobilized and will be lending to the firms for investment. So financial institution is nothing but the intermediary. So the main job of financial institution, if you ask me, it is nothing but promotion of capital formation. Capital formation means what? What is capital formation? Capital formation is nothing but the investment only. So the main role of financial institution is basically to promote investment by acting as intermediary between households and the firms. Okay, so they mobilize the savings of the households or public for the investment of the firms. Now, what are the different types of financial institution? So financial institutions, the main three types are banks. Banking we have discussed. Banks we are yet to discuss. The types of banks, etc. That has to be discussed here. Then DFIs. I have told this to somebody yesterday that we will be discussing about this in the next session. So banks, DFIs means what? What do you mean by DFI? DFI are Development Financial Institution. Development Financial Institution. Yesterday I have told you NABARD we have discussed, right? For example, NABARD. Okay. Then SIDBI. Okay. And Mudra Bank. We have discussed this also. Mudra Bank also I have told you yesterday. So not yesterday, day before yesterday. Then one more. What is that?
National Housing Board.
Yeah, okay. I'm talking about
NHB, sir.
financial institution. Financial institution. Banks covered, DFIs covered. Now the NBFCs. Okay, or non-banking financial institutions. It could be non-banking financial companies or non-banking financial institutions. So here we will be discussing a lot of, when we discuss about banks, what are the main three types of banks? There are three types of banks. We will discuss these three types in detail. The main types are commercial bank. Okay, how many of you are working in bank here? Who's working in bank? Ritika, you are working in bank, right? RBI. Okay, so commercial bank, cooperative bank, and regional rural bank. Okay, so these are the three main types of banks. So now I'm not talking about the recent new types that we have already discussed last day, that is payment banks, small financial bank, etc. That is called differentiated banks. So they are not exactly banks which I am talking about here. Here I am talking about this three category of banks. Okay, so yesterday in the previous session we discussed about small finance bank, different payment banks. Those are differentiated banks. So they are not exactly banks which comes under this category. So banks means mainly these three types: DFIs, NBFC. So there are some commonality in the banks and there are some commonality in the DFIs. But when we discuss about NBFCs, so many NBFCs are there and there is no commonality among them. For example, mutual fund is one NBFC, insurance company is one NBFC. Okay, so you got it. So different types are coming under NBFC. So venture capitals, okay, and all this Islamic banking, all these will come under this part. So we will discuss under NBFCs. Or in another way of classification is this: the financial institutions. You can make a twofold classification: banks and non-banks. Okay, so under non-banks you can write DFIs and NBFC. So some textbooks may tell you this also, but we don't want to go with this is fine. There are three different types: banks, DFIs, NBFCs, for your better understanding. So otherwise, banks and non-banks, these two are considered as non-banks. So why these two are considered as non-banks? Then what is the speciality of banks? Banks have to perform three important functions. So any financial institution we can call as banks if it performs three functions. Any idea what are the three functions? Can anyone tell me what are the three functions which has to be performed by an institution to be called or qualified as bank? Three functions has to be performed. No idea? Yeah, firstly deposits, right? Acceptance of deposits. So acceptance of deposit from the public, you write there in your notes. Not just like this, write it properly. Banks are the financial institutions which perform the following three functions. First one, acceptance of deposits from the public. Second one, lending. Right? Lending means loans, giving loans. Third one, provision for demand withdrawal facility. Demand withdrawal facility. Okay, so provision for demand withdrawal facility. Okay, see, when we talk about this Muthoot Finance, etc., they take deposit, they can lend money also. Then what is the problem? Why we are not considering them as banks? There is no demand withdrawal facility, right? Similarly, when we talk about post office banks, okay, why post office banks are not coming under the category of banks? There is deposit, there is demand withdrawal facility also, but there is no lending. You got it? So any financial institution which satisfy these three conditions or which perform these three functions are what you call as banks. Are we okay? Shivangi, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, okay, now classification of banks. Next heading you write classification of banks. So mainly scheduled banks and non-scheduled banks. Okay, so under scheduled banks you can write scheduled banks. These banks are registered under second schedule of RBI Act 1934. RBI Act 1934. Scheduled banks. These are registered under. These banks are registered under the second schedule of RBI Act 1934. Now there are conditions. Okay, you can write the conditions. At that time, a paid up capital of the bank should be at least 5 crore. Paid up capital of the bank should be at least 5 crore. Its operation should be conducted in the interest of its depositors. Its operation should be conducted in the interest of its depositors. So if you see all major banks like commercial banks, okay, we have just discussed about this three, right? This commercial banks, cooperative banks, regional rural banks, all are what? All are actually scheduled banks. And one more advantage is these banks can directly borrow from RBI. Okay, those scheduled banks can directly borrow from RBI in case of any exigency or any requirements. So all major banks are actually scheduled banks. Now, commercial banks, if you see, what are the commercial banks? Commercial banks are three types. So firstly, public sector banks like SBI, PNB, etc. So these are commercial banks, right? Then some private banks. So public sector banks is there, private banks, ICICI, HDFC, etc. Foreign banks, HSBC, Citibank, Yes Bank, etc. Okay, so these are the different types of commercial banks. Now, scheduled bank and non-scheduled bank, what is the difference? Scheduled banks are registered under RBI Act, and those which are not registered under RBI Act is non-scheduled bank. So you cannot borrow from RBI. Although RBI will regulate, there is no such borrowing or anything. Okay, so no advantages that the scheduled banks will get from RBI will be available for non-scheduled banks. Now, what I can do is I can make a table or column between commercial banks and cooperative banks, so that it will be easy for you to understand. So on one side, commercial banks, and the other side, cooperative banks. Okay, so under commercial banks you write registered under Companies Act 2013. Companies Act 2013. Earlier it was 1956, Companies Act 1956. When it was amended, it was 2013. Okay, so Companies Act 2013. What about cooperative bank? Under Cooperative Societies Act of State Government. Under Cooperative Societies Act of State Government. So this is under the state government. Okay, so there are two types of cooperative banks, or when we discuss about cooperative credit society. So it is actually the cooperative banks will come under cooperative credit society. Okay, so it can be the cooperative credit society is like this: credit, okay, and then non-credit. So here this is for agriculture, non-credit area, this is for agriculture and such kind of things. This credit part, this is what we generally consider as bank. So when we say cooperative bank, this part is what we are talking about. So you don't want to discuss about this part. Okay, so the credit cooperatives, that is the banks. So what about the management here? In the commercial banks, the management is actually by board of directors. Board of directors. So you can write managed by board of directors. I'll discuss about, I've told you before also in the previous session, we will discuss about this Companies Act in detail when we discuss about industry. So there I'll tell you what you mean by board of directors and what are the rules with respect to board of directors, etc. On the other side, here you can write management. Management, you know that it is representation of people, right? Representation of people, representation of members. So one member, one vote. Now any person can be a member. Only requirement is you just need to open an account, right? So requirement is you can write open account. So the public actually appoint the management here. Okay, so it is on democratic line. Democratic line. Public appoint the management. So any member can actually see, you need to be first member. For that you need to open an account, and any member can contest the election and can contest for chairmanship, right? So if you get elected, you can be the chairman. Now, if you come with the objective, what is the objective of commercial banks? What is the objective of commercial banks? Profit. So objective of commercial bank is actually profit. What about objective of cooperative banks? Main objective is not profit, it is financial inclusion. So you can write under objective profit here, and here it is financial inclusion. Now who is the regulator? Regulator in commercial banks? Who's regulating the commercial banks? RBI. So you write regulator and then write it RBI. What about cooperative banks? Actually, three institutions. RBI obviously will be there. Okay. Then NABARD will be there, and then state government will be there. Okay. So the deposit and lending related aspects etc. will be taken care or regulated by RBI. Lending to agriculture sector, that is by NABARD. Okay, so that is actually after the establishment of NABARD, RBI deregulated that area. So now NABARD will be taking care of that. So here we have this one, representation of members. So management we have discussed, objective we have discussed, regulator we have discussed. What else to discuss? Now what about value added services? It will be more here, more value added services. Value added services means checkbook, ATMs, internet banking, etc. Okay, so that will be more here, that will be limited here. Now here there will be a uniform structure. So you can write structure, unified structure. In case of cooperative banks, there is a 3-tiered structure. So 3 tiers are there. So we need to see what are the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So what is tier 1? Tier 1 is at the state level. Okay. So state level you can write SCB, State Cooperative Bank. Tier 1, State Cooperative Bank. Tier 2. So that is a district level. District level. So district or bracket district or central cooperative bank. District or Central Cooperative Bank, CCB. SCB, CCB. Third one. So state level done, district level done, now village level. Village level. And there you write PACS, Primary Agricultural Credit Society. Primary Agricultural Credit Society. So I have told you about Agricultural Credit Society before, and I have told you there is something related to agriculture and something related to pure banking. So we are concerned about more that banking part. Okay. Primary Agricultural Credit Society. So what I am saying is this 3 level, district level, state level and village level. See, a state, central, if you see, it is not at the central level. Central means it is between village and state. That means at the district level. So don't have any confusion that, central level means at the national level. That's not the case here. Okay? Any doubts in this comparison? The commercial bank and cooperative bank? Okay, so when we talk about cooperative banks, the structure is like this. So I have told you already the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 structure. Apart from that, in rural and urban, rural urban. So we will be discussing more about rural only. Okay, so rural, there are short-term credit and long-term credit societies. Okay, so here related to short-term, that is, and here it is 3-tier. We have discussed already the 3-tier structure: state level, SCB, CCB, and the PACS, right? PACS. So this 3-tier structure we have discussed. Long-term credit, so short-term credit is related to agriculture, seed, etc. Right? Short-term, so short-term, which is written already. Long-term, here LDBs, land development banks. You can write there in bracket land development banks, for example. So they will take care of irrigation project like tube wells, etc. That is long-term. Okay, so you can write there irrigation project example, irrigation project, etc. tube wells, etc. So here seeds, etc. Okay, so irrigation project, etc. So here there is a 2-tier structure. There will be district level and state level. Okay, so there is no village level in case of long-term credit. Short-term credit, the 3-tier. So whenever we discuss about cooperative bank, we basically refer to this part. Automatically when we talk about cooperative bank, we refer to this part. Now when we discuss about urban, the examples are like UCB, urban cooperative banks. So this is similar to commercial banks, except that registration and management. Registration here is done under the State Cooperative Act, and the management is the representation. On the other hand, it is commercial banks registered under RBI Act, and management is by Board of Control. Otherwise, everything is similar to commercial bank. It is functioning. So when we talk about cooperative bank, we basically talk about this part, the short-term credit, that aspect. Okay. Write few advantages. Advantages of cooperative banks. They caters to financial needs of most vulnerable sections of society. They caters to financial needs of most vulnerable sections of society. Second, these are organized on democratic lines. These are organized on democratic lines. That is, their management is elected by the people. That is, their management is elected by the people. Third, they have area-specific approach, like rural, urban, etc. Commercial bank, that's not the case. Okay, they have area-specific approach. Next, these are associated with non-credit activities. These are associated with non-credit activities like provision of seeds, fertilizers, etc. to farmers on credit. Provision of seeds, fertilizers, etc. to farmers on credit. See, now the main problem with cooperative banks is less recovery, right? So it is actually a burden for the state, and most of the cooperative societies are actually under laws. So the most important reason is the management is elected from the members, right? So less professional management. You can write there, most of the cooperative societies are in laws, and it's a burden for the state. Main problem is less professional management, and again politicization is a big problem here. Politicization, okay, and the performance of cooperative banks is not satisfactory. even the chairman is also elected by the people. There is a party line, right? Thus, this election is also conducted on the basis of party line. So obviously that lead to politicization. For example, those people who voted for this party, only the party will identify their people and will lend to their people. So the other party members will suffer. That's what I mean by politicization and less professional management. So even you start lending to everybody if the members are your, if somebody is coming for loan from your party. So these are the main problems with the cooperatives. Not cooperatives, cooperative banks. Okay. Next is regional rural banks. That we will do tomorrow. Regional RRBs. We will do this tomorrow. So have an idea what is commercial bank, what is cooperative bank. You make a clear clarity with respect to their differences. Prelims, they used to ask this. Okay. Any doubts? Can we stop here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sir.
Okay.
Oh,